Have you ever looked at the clock at 2:30 in the morning, then 3:15, then 4 o'clock, wondering why your body simply refuses to fall asleep? You feel exhausted. Your eyes are heavy. Your muscles are begging for rest. Yet the moment your head touches the pillow, your mind suddenly becomes wide awake. Maybe you replay conversations that happened years ago. Maybe you worry about your blood pressure, your medications, your grandchildren, or tomorrow's doctor's appointment. Then somehow, just before sunrise, you finally drift off, only to wake up feeling as if you never slept at all. Or perhaps your nights follow a different pattern. You fall asleep without much trouble, but every single night you wake up around 2 or 3 in the morning. You stare at the ceiling in the darkness, hoping sleep will return. Minutes become an hour, sometimes even 2. The next morning you drag yourself out of bed. Your body feels stiff. Your memory feels foggy. Your mood is shorter than it used to be. Even simple daily activities suddenly feel exhausting. If this sounds familiar, I want you to know something that many older adults desperately need to hear. Poor sleep is not simply an unavoidable part of getting older. Yes, sleep changes as we age, but constantly struggling to sleep, waking up multiple times every night, or feeling exhausted every morning should never be dismissed as just getting old. These problems often have underlying biological reasons, and in many cases, they can be improved. Unfortunately, many people believe their only option is sleeping medication. While prescription sleep aids certainly have an important place for some patients, relying on them night after night isn't always the best long-term solution. Many can leave people feeling groggy the next morning, increase the risk of falls, or gradually become less effective over time. The encouraging news is that researchers have identified several natural nutrients and bedtime habits that may support healthier sleep, especially for adults over 60. One of them stands out because it works in a completely different way than most people expect. We'll get to that shortly. But before we talk about natural solutions, there's something even more important that you need to understand. Because if you don't know why sleep changes after 60, it's easy to waste time trying methods that never address the real problem. My name is Dr. James Carter. For more than 20 years, I've worked with older adults who believed they were destined to spend the rest of their lives battling sleepless nights. Many arrived at my office convinced nothing could help them anymore. Yet once they understood what was actually happening inside their bodies, everything started to make much more sense. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 science-backed natural sleep supporters that have attracted growing attention in research on healthy aging. I'll explain what they are, how they work, who may benefit the most, and the one I personally believe deserves the most attention. So stay with me until the end, because the final recommendation is often the one that surprises people the most. But first, let's answer the question almost nobody asks. Why does sleep become so much more fragile after the age of 60? To understand why so many older adults struggle with sleep, we first need to understand that aging changes the brain in ways most people never notice. This isn't a sign that your body is failing. It's a normal biological process. The problem is that very few people are ever taught how these changes actually affect sleep. One of the biggest differences involves deep sleep. Not all sleep is the same. Throughout the night, your brain moves through several stages, each serving a different purpose. Some stages are lighter. Others are much deeper and more restorative. Deep sleep is when your body performs some of its most important maintenance work. Your brain clears away waste products that build up during the day. Your immune system strengthens its defenses. Your muscles recover. Your heart enjoys its most restful period. And your memories become more organized and stable. When you're young, your brain spends a much larger portion of the night in these restorative stages. As we grow older, however, deep sleep naturally becomes shorter and lighter. That means even if you spend 7 or 8 hours in bed, you may wake up feeling as though your body never fully recovered. Another important change involves melatonin. Melatonin is often called the sleep hormone, but it doesn't actually force you to sleep. Instead, it acts like your body's internal signal that nighttime has arrived. As evening approaches, melatonin levels normally begin to rise, telling your brain that it's time to prepare for rest. With age, however, the body often produces less melatonin. The nightly signal becomes weaker. Instead of gradually feeling sleepy, Many older adults remain alert far later than expected, or they become sleepy early in the evening, wake up during the night, and struggle to return to sleep. Your internal body clock also becomes more sensitive. Small disruptions that younger adults barely notice can affect an older person's sleep for days. A late family gathering, travel across time zones, an afternoon nap that lasts too long, even staying up to watch a favorite television program may be enough to shift the body's rhythm. Pain is another major contributor. Arthritis, back discomfort, joint stiffness, nerve pain. These problems don't always wake you completely, but they repeatedly interrupt the natural flow of sleep throughout the night. Many people don't even remember waking up, yet they still lose valuable deep sleep. Medications can also play a surprisingly important role. Some medicines prescribed for blood pressure, frequent urination, asthma, depression, allergies, or inflammation may unintentionally interfere with normal sleep patterns. Sometimes the medication itself isn't the problem. The timing of when it's taken can make a significant difference. Then there are nighttime bathroom trips. As we age, changes in bladder function often mean getting out of bed one or more times every night. Each awakening gives the brain another opportunity to become fully alert again, making it harder to fall back asleep. Finally, stress doesn't disappear after retirement. In fact, for many older adults, it simply changes. Health concerns, financial responsibilities, loss of loved ones, loneliness, caring for a spouse. These emotional burdens don't always show themselves during the day. Instead, they often become loudest when the room grows quiet. Understanding these biological changes is incredibly important because they explain why many common sleep tips simply don't work for everyone over 60. Your body isn't responding the same way it did 20 or 30 years ago. That doesn't mean better sleep is impossible. It simply means your approach needs to match the way the aging brain and body actually function. Now that we've covered why sleep changes with age, we can talk about something even more important. What happens inside your body when poor sleep continues night after night for months or even years? The answer may surprise you. Now let's talk about something many people never connect to their sleep. Most older adults think insomnia simply means feeling tired the next morning. But poor sleep reaches much deeper than fatigue. Night after night, your body depends on healthy sleep to repair itself. When that process is repeatedly interrupted, the effects slowly spread throughout nearly every organ system. The frightening part is that this damage usually happens silently. You don't wake up one morning with a sign saying your health is declining because of poor sleep. Instead, the changes happen little by little, often over many months or even years. Let's begin with your heart. While you're sleeping, your blood pressure naturally drops. Your heart slows down. Blood vessels relax. This period gives your cardiovascular system valuable time to recover from the demands of the day. But when sleep becomes fragmented, your body may remain in a mild state of stress for much of the night. Stress hormones stay elevated longer than they should. Your heart works harder. Blood pressure doesn't receive the same opportunity to recover. Over time, researchers have observed that chronic sleep problems are associated with a greater likelihood of developing cardiovascular disease. Your brain also pays a price. For years, scientists believed the brain simply rested during sleep. Today we know something much more remarkable happens. During deep sleep, the brain activates a specialized cleaning system that helps remove waste products produced throughout the day. Think of it as a nighttime housekeeping crew. When deep sleep becomes shorter or repeatedly interrupted, that cleaning process may become less efficient. This is one reason researchers continue studying the relationship between poor sleep, memory decline, and healthy brain aging. Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you went there? Forgotten someone's name even though you know them well? Struggled to concentrate on a conversation? Occasional forgetfulness is completely normal, but poor sleep can make those everyday moments feel much more frequent. Your immune system is also working while you sleep. Many people imagine the immune system only becomes active when they're sick. In reality, every night your body is preparing for tomorrow's challenges. Quality sleep helps coordinate immune cells, regulate inflammation, and support your body's natural defenses. Without enough restorative sleep, that system may become less efficient over time. Sleep also plays an important role in maintaining healthy blood sugar. When people consistently sleep poorly, the body may become less responsive to insulin. Researchers continue investigating how chronic sleep deprivation may contribute to metabolic problems, including an increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes in susceptible individuals. Then there's something many older adults never consider: balance, reaction time, muscle coordination. When you wake up exhausted, your brain processes information more slowly. Your muscles respond more slowly. Your attention isn't as sharp. For younger adults, this might simply mean a less productive day. For someone in their 70s or 80s, it could increase the likelihood of a dangerous fall. Falls remain one of the leading causes of serious injuries among older adults, and poor sleep is considered one of several factors that may contribute to that risk. Perhaps the greatest tragedy is that many people accept all of these changes as normal aging. They say, "I'm just getting older. My energy isn't what it used to be. My memory is fading." Sometimes aging is certainly part of the picture. But sometimes the body is simply asking for better sleep. The encouraging news is that improving sleep quality doesn't always require stronger medications. Researchers have identified several natural compounds that appear to support the body's own sleep processes in different ways. Some help calm the nervous system. Some support the production of sleep-related hormones. Others improve the body's ability to enter deeper stages of restorative sleep. If you're finding this information helpful, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Every week I share evidence-based strategies focused on healthy aging, nutrition, and practical ways to help you stay active and independent after 60. Now let's begin our countdown. We'll start with number 5 and work our way toward the natural ingredient that I believe deserves the closest attention. Number 5 is probably sitting in your kitchen right now: chamomile. Most people think of chamomile as simply a comforting bedtime tea, but there's much more happening inside that warm cup than many people realize. Chamomile naturally contains plant compounds called flavonoids, including one that has attracted considerable scientific interest because of the way it interacts with certain calming pathways inside the brain. Rather than forcing your body to sleep, chamomile appears to encourage relaxation, making it easier for some people to naturally drift into sleep. That difference is important. The goal isn't to knock your brain unconscious. The goal is to create conditions where your body can do what it was designed to do. Several clinical studies have explored chamomile's potential effects on sleep quality, particularly among older adults and individuals with chronic sleep difficulties. While results naturally vary from person to person, many participants experienced improvements in overall sleep quality, fewer nighttime awakenings, and an easier time falling asleep. One reason I often recommend chamomile as part of a bedtime routine is because it's simple, affordable, widely available. And for most healthy adults, it's generally well tolerated when consumed in moderation. If you'd like to try it, prepare 1 cup of freshly brewed chamomile tea about 45 minutes before bedtime. Allow it to steep for several minutes with the cup covered so more of the beneficial compounds remain in the tea. Drink it slowly. Think of it as the first signal to your brain that the day is ending. Now let's move to number 4. This one isn't a tea. It's actually an amino acid your body depends on every single day: tryptophan. You may recognize the name because people often associate it with turkey dinners, but turkey is only one source. Tryptophan is naturally found in foods such as chicken, eggs, dairy products, pumpkin seeds, nuts, beans, and bananas. Why is this amino acid so important? Because your body uses tryptophan to produce serotonin. Serotonin is involved in mood regulation, emotional well-being, and many other important functions. Later, serotonin can also be converted into melatonin, the hormone that helps regulate your natural sleep-wake cycle. Without enough building blocks, your body may struggle to produce these important compounds efficiently. Researchers have investigated whether increasing dietary tryptophan may support healthier sleep. Some studies suggest that adequate tryptophan intake may help reduce the amount of time people spend awake during the night while supporting overall sleep quality. Although it's certainly not a miracle cure, ensuring sufficient intake through a balanced diet may become one helpful piece of a much larger sleep strategy. One practical idea is to enjoy a light evening snack that combines tryptophan-rich foods with healthy carbohydrates. For example, a small banana with a handful of walnuts, plain yogurt with sliced fruit, or warm milk alongside a small serving of whole grain crackers. These combinations may help provide the nutrients your body needs as it prepares for sleep. So far, we've discussed 2 gentle supporters of healthy sleep. But the next nutrient works in an entirely different way. Instead of focusing mainly on calming the brain or supporting hormone production, it helps prepare your body physically for deep sleep itself. And that's where things become truly fascinating. We've now reached the final two recommendations. If you've stayed with me this far, you've probably noticed something. Every ingredient we've discussed supports sleep from a different angle. Chamomile encourages relaxation. Tryptophan provides the building blocks for important sleep-related hormones. The next nutrient, however, works much deeper inside the nervous system. Number 2 is magnesium. This mineral is involved in hundreds of chemical reactions throughout the body, which is one reason it has become one of the most widely studied nutrients in healthy aging. When it comes to sleep, magnesium appears to help in two important ways. First, it supports the normal function of the nervous system. Throughout the day, your brain is constantly processing information, conversations, television, phone calls, stress, memories, plans for tomorrow. By bedtime, your brain needs to shift from a state of alertness into a state of relaxation. Magnesium helps support that transition by participating in pathways that promote calmness while reducing excessive nerve activity. Think of it as gently encouraging your brain to take its foot off the accelerator. Second, magnesium also plays a role in helping regulate the body's natural sleep cycle. Researchers continue studying its relationship with melatonin production, muscle relaxation, and overall sleep quality. Several clinical trials have reported that older adults with lower magnesium intake may experience greater difficulty falling asleep and maintaining restful sleep throughout the night. In some studies, magnesium supplementation was associated with improvements in sleep duration, sleep efficiency, and the time required to fall asleep. Of course, magnesium is not a sleeping pill. It doesn't work instantly. Instead, it supports the biological systems that healthy sleep depends on. Foods such as spinach, almonds, pumpkin seeds, black beans, and whole grains naturally contain magnesium. Unfortunately, many adults consume less magnesium than recommended, especially as appetite changes with age. But before you rush to buy the first magnesium supplement you see on the shelf, there's something important you should know. Not all forms of magnesium behave the same way inside the body. Some are absorbed better than others. Some are mainly used for digestive support. Others are much more likely to reach the tissues involved in muscle relaxation and nervous system function. And that's exactly why my number one recommendation isn't simply magnesium. It's a specific form that combines two sleep-supporting nutrients into one. Magnesium bisglycinate. Magnesium bisglycinate is created by binding magnesium to glycine, the amino acid we briefly mentioned earlier. This combination offers several advantages. Because glycine itself has been studied for its potential role in supporting deeper, more restorative sleep, pairing it with magnesium creates a supplement that works through multiple complementary pathways. Magnesium helps support relaxation inside the nervous system. Glycine may assist the body's natural cooling process before sleep, making it easier for your brain to transition into deeper stages of rest. Many people also find magnesium bisglycinate gentler on the stomach than certain other forms of magnesium. Another reason I prefer this form is consistency. Rather than chasing quick fixes, I encourage my patients to focus on building habits that support healthy sleep over time. Magnesium bisglycinate fits well into that philosophy because it works with your body's natural processes instead of forcing them. If your healthcare provider agrees that supplementation is appropriate for you, many adults choose to take it about 30 to 60 minutes before bedtime. Some prefer capsules. Others enjoy mixing the powdered form into warm water because it's simple, easy to drink, and naturally becomes part of a relaxing nighttime routine. The exact amount that's appropriate varies from person to person, especially if you have kidney disease or take prescription medications. That's why it's always wise to discuss supplements with your physician or pharmacist before adding them to your routine. Now, before you think this one supplement is the entire answer, let me share something I've learned after years of working with older adults. The people who experience the greatest improvements usually don't rely on one product alone. Instead, they combine healthy habits with evidence-based nutrition. Let me show you what that actually looks like. Over the years, I've met hundreds of older adults who were convinced they had tried everything. Many believed they were simply bad sleepers. But in reality, what they were missing wasn't another sleeping pill. They were missing a complete evening routine that prepared the brain and body for sleep. I remember one patient I'll call Margaret. She was 73 years old and had been waking up almost every night around 3 in the morning. By the time she came to see me, she had accepted this as her new normal. She wasn't looking for perfect sleep. She just wanted one full night's rest. Instead of changing everything overnight, we focused on small, realistic adjustments. She began drinking a warm cup of chamomile tea about 45 minutes before bed. Her physician approved adding magnesium bisglycinate to her routine. She stopped watching television during the last hour before bedtime and replaced it with quiet reading under soft lighting. Within several weeks, she noticed she was falling asleep more easily. Even more importantly, when she woke briefly during the night, she found it much easier to drift back to sleep. Another patient, whom I'll call Robert, had a completely different problem. He could fall asleep quickly, but he woke up feeling as though he hadn't slept at all. His evenings were filled with heavy meals, late-night snacks, and scrolling through news on his phone until midnight. Rather than focusing only on supplements, we changed the environment around his sleep. He began eating dinner earlier. He reduced caffeine later in the day. He kept his bedroom cooler and darker. He charged his phone outside the bedroom instead of leaving it on the nightstand. Gradually, his mornings became noticeably better. His energy improved, his concentration improved, and he no longer dreaded going to bed each evening. Stories like these remind us of something important. Sleep is rarely improved by one single habit. It's usually the combination of many small choices that creates meaningful results. Here's the simple bedtime routine I often encourage older adults to discuss with their healthcare providers. About 45 minutes before bed, begin slowing your evening down. Dim the lights throughout the house whenever possible. Bright light tells your brain to stay alert. Softer lighting sends the opposite message. Enjoy a warm, caffeine-free drink such as chamomile tea if it's appropriate for you. If your healthcare provider has recommended magnesium bisglycinate, this is often a convenient time to take it. Avoid large, heavy meals immediately before lying down. If you need a light snack, consider foods that naturally contain tryptophan, such as yogurt, a small banana, a handful of nuts, or a boiled egg. Try to keep your bedroom cool, quiet, and as dark as possible. Even small sources of light from televisions, alarm clocks, or electronic devices may affect some people's sleep. One of the most powerful habits of all is consistency. Going to bed at roughly the same time every evening helps reinforce your body's internal clock. Your brain loves routines. The more predictable your schedule becomes, the easier it often becomes for your body to recognize when it's time to sleep. Perhaps the hardest habit to change is the phone. Many people tell me they only check it for 5 minutes before bed. 5 minutes often becomes 30. The bright screen, endless headlines, and constant stimulation keep the brain active long after the phone has been put down. Replacing that habit with quiet reading, gentle stretching, prayer, meditation, or simply listening to calming music can make a surprisingly meaningful difference over time. But before you begin trying any new supplement or changing your current treatment plan, there are several important safety considerations every older adult should understand. Let's talk about those next. Before we finish, there's one final conversation we need to have. Natural nutrients can be incredibly helpful for many older adults. Healthy bedtime habits can make a meaningful difference, but neither of those replaces proper medical care when sleep problems become persistent or severe. If you've been struggling with insomnia for 3 months or longer, if you're waking up gasping for air, if your partner notices loud snoring followed by long pauses in breathing, if your legs become uncomfortable every evening and you constantly feel the need to move them, or if your sleep suddenly changed without any obvious explanation, please don't assume it's simply part of getting older. These symptoms may point to conditions that deserve medical evaluation: sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, chronic pain, depression, anxiety, medication side effects, hormonal changes, or other medical conditions that require a completely different treatment approach. Another question I hear frequently is, "Dr. Carter, should I stop taking my sleeping medication now that I know about these natural options?" My answer is always the same. Never stop a prescription sleep medication suddenly without speaking to the healthcare professional who prescribed it. Many sleep medications require careful supervision if the goal is to reduce or discontinue them. Stopping abruptly may actually make insomnia worse for a period of time, and, in some cases, may even cause withdrawal symptoms. Instead, think of the natural strategies we've discussed today as tools that may help support healthier sleep while you and your healthcare provider determine the safest long-term plan for your individual situation. Remember, supplements are exactly what their name suggests. They supplement. They do not replace balanced nutrition, regular physical activity, proper medical care, or healthy daily habits. Over the years, one lesson has become clearer to me than almost anything else. Healthy aging isn't built on dramatic changes. It's built on small decisions repeated consistently. A slightly earlier bedtime, a little less screen time, a calming evening routine, choosing foods that nourish your body, giving yourself permission to slow down instead of rushing from one day into the next. These choices may seem small on their own, but over weeks, months, and years, they can shape the way you feel every single morning. I often tell my patients that sleep is one of the few forms of medicine your body produces entirely on its own. You can't buy it, you can't force it, but you can create the right conditions for it to happen naturally. And when quality sleep returns, many other parts of life often begin improving as well. You may notice more energy during the day, greater patience with family, sharper concentration, a brighter mood, more confidence while walking. And perhaps most importantly, you begin waking up with the feeling that your body is working with you instead of against you. If today's video gave you a new understanding of why sleep changes after 60, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Leave a comment below with your city or country and tell me one thing that has helped or hurt your sleep over the years. I read as many of your comments as I can, and they often inspire topics for future videos. If you found this information valuable, please consider sharing this video with a parent, grandparent, neighbor, or friend who has been quietly struggling with sleepless nights. Sometimes one conversation can encourage someone to seek help or discover a healthier routine that changes their quality of life. And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Every week I share practical, research-informed strategies to help adults over 60 protect their heart, brain, muscles, memory, and overall quality of life. In our next video, we're going to explore another health concern that affects millions of older adults, but is often overlooked. We'll be talking about persistent ringing in the ears. Many people believe tinnitus is simply something they have to live with forever, but emerging research suggests that, in some individuals, nutritional deficiencies, circulation, medication use, and underlying health conditions may all play a role. We'll discuss what the latest evidence says, what warning signs deserve attention, and which questions you should consider asking your healthcare provider. You won't want to miss that discussion. Thank you for spending your time with me today. I'm Dr. James Carter. Take good care of your sleep, because every peaceful night is an investment in tomorrow's health. Until next time, stay healthy, stay curious, and take care of yourself.